Hey guys, it's Chelsa Messenger with Picks and Parlays. We're talking baseball. One series under our belts, and we're ready to rumble with more baseball action. We're talking Dodgers and A's. You can get MLB early bird passes, one capper's picks all season long for just $549. Dodgers road favorites here, minus 154. Total is 8 runs. In this one, we've got Clayton Kershaw on the bump for the Dodgers. 0-1 with a 7.94 ERA. Obviously, only one game, but didn't look very good in his game against the Rockies, giving up 5 earned runs. And then you've got Chris Bassett, who was pretty solid for the A's last season. Gave up 3 runs in 5 1/3 against the Astros in his opening day start. We've got Scott Rickenbach here to break this one all down for us. Scott, opening thoughts on this Dodgers-A's matchup?
Should be a good one. This is interesting, though, with Kershaw, like you mentioned, a high ERA, of course, only one start in the books, and it was at Coors Field, so you can put a little bit of an asterisk by that. But by the same token, the thing is, he had a really bad spring. He had 4 spring starts and had an ERA of 10.22. I tend to not put a whole lot of weight into spring, but when it's consistently bad, and then when it carries into the regular season, that's a bit of a concern, and that's my concern with Kershaw here. I'm not going to try to bank on when he's going to snap out of this. And now, what he does have going for him here, Oakland struggled in their first series. We don't know at the time of this recording how the Monday game is playing out, but coming into this series, Oakland had just been swept by the Astros, looked really ugly. They're having pitching problems of their own, that's for sure. All 4 of their games against the Astros went over the total. They allowed at least 8 runs in every single game. So that's not just starting pitching. That means the bullpen is struggling a bit too. The thing going for Kershaw is that the A's didn't hit well. But like I said, they're probably going to be happy, even though it's the defending World Series champs, they're probably going to be happy to see anybody but the Astros on the mound. So they could have a little success here because Kershaw just doesn't look right. And certainly the start, again, it was at Coors Field, but that doesn't bring out any confidence for him either. And I know he's a veteran that could snap out of this funk at any time, but when you're in a funk like that and coming off a rough spring, I would not be surprised to see it still carry a little bit into this one.
Yeah, I think the first thing that surprised me about this one was the line. The Dodgers at minus 154 with their ace Clayton Kershaw on the mound, which is a pretty low price for a Dodgers team that's normally, they were minus 220 opening day, I believe. But as you mentioned, this is not the same Clayton Kershaw that we've seen in years past. And normally, Kershaw will be a fade spot for me. But the problem is the A's lineup. You said it. I mean, we're filming before the Monday game, but the A's hitting just 171 through their first series. They could not get the bats going against this Astros team in their opening series, but it seems like the Astros have the A's number. I don't know what it is, but the A's do not play well against the Astros. So I don't know how much I take away from that, but this Dodgers lineup, on the other hand, has been hitting really solid. They lead the majors through 4 games and batting average, hitting .330 as a team. And granted, they were playing at Coors Field, but I think it's a tough one to handicap just because I'm not sure if you get any kind of value with Kershaw on the mound, just because I don't think you can trust him. But at the same note, you've got to get the lineup going for the A's. That's the only issue I'd have with the over. You've got to have the A's contribute a little.
Very true. And that's what I'm looking at here is that a couple things. I do expect, again, like you said, the Dodgers, those games were at Coors Field, so that certainly helped them. But I expect them to have some success here against Bassett. Again, he did give up 3 earned runs in 5 1/3 innings in his first start. He's a solid pitcher. But one of the things to note about him that when I was looking into this one a little bit more, his ERA each of the last 2 seasons was much higher against left-handed bats than righties. And you look at the Dodgers, they've got a lot of dangerous left-handed hitters. So they could do a little damage against him. They're certainly coming into this one confident after scoring a bunch of runs at Colorado. So Bassett could struggle a little here. The Dodgers did average 6.5 runs per game in that 4-game set at Colorado. So that's why I'm looking at the over, because I just, and like you said, and here's an important note that goes for all the games early on, guys. Don't react too quickly to things. It's very early in the season. So like you were saying, Chelsea, we might see the A's bats now get going, and facing a guy like Kershaw who has been struggling. Again, he struggled in the spring, so it did carry into the regular season. Does it carry again one more game? I think it does a little bit. And I think this low total of 8 And as you alluded to with this line, it looks a little funny, which also has me liking the over because the line's telling me that we can't completely trust the Dodgers here. But at the same time, I do expect their bats to do some damage. So this is kind of telling me the A's bats are going to wake up in this game too. And I'm going over the total, which is a pretty fair number at an 8 at the time that we're making this recording.
Right. And at a number of 8, this Dodgers lineup is perfectly capable of getting that total by themselves.
Absolutely, yes. They certainly have the potential. That's the thing. They have got some dangerous sticks, and like I said, Bassett a little bit more struggles, especially with giving up some big hits against the left-handed bats, and they've got some dangerous left-handed hitters in that lineup.
Yeah, I think bottom line for me is that total pretty low, 8. I think even, if both starting pitchers do average, the bullpen can come in and give up a few runs, and that's, 6-2, 6-3 ball game. It's a really low number for a Dodgers lineup that can absolutely rake. We've seen it. All right, well, that's going to do it for our baseball talk here on Picks and Parlays. Great stuff from Scott Rickenbach as always. Scott, thanks for joining us.